you are addressing, Honorable Nelson, you are addressing a converted person. I am a supporter of devolution, and I know that we need to support our counties. Counties are struggling at times, and a lot of times. In fact, we are incurring a lot as a country by failing to send monies to counties within the required time. Why? Because counties end up borrowing money from commercial banks and pay huge interests on borrowed funds just to pay salaries. We must make sure that we reverse that. I know there are revenue constraints, but we must balance. We must manage our cash flow. That will be my responsibility. One of the most important and critical departments at the Treasury is that Department of Accounting, the department that deals with managing the cash flow. Honorable Kosing, I hear you. A lot of opulence, a lot of wastage. By the way, even the reconstitution of this cabinet is as a result of, is actually a direct consequence of show of opulence, which made some Kenyans mad, to the extent that now the president had to be forced to do certain things which he shouldn't have done, really. So we must contain wastage. We must contain wastage, but we shouldn't be mechanical about it. In my view, we should contain it practically. One of them is to reduce our operating expenditure. We must make our budget transparent. This idea of lumping budget lines and saying other operating expenses must go from our budget. What are these other operating expenses? We must be clear. If we are paying for mileage, Mr. Speaker, for example, let it be known. We know that members of parliament have to be facilitated to go to the consumer. I'm not saying that is parliament that is putting, actually parliament rarely put block figures.
It's good to use us as an example.
Yeah, but I'm giving parliament as an example. But there are ministries, departments, which do that. Mr. Speaker, have you asked yourself why we still have one officer, a driver, taking impress for 200 staff for a training? Yet every member of staff has an IFMIS number. Let each person get a per diem allowance or impressed and comes back and accounts for it, like it happens in parliament. Anytime I move out of the country, I am given my impressed. I come back and account for it directly. It's not never given to clerks. But you go to ministries, there is lump sum amounts, impress, you find someone taking 3 million. These are wastages that we must work on and control. Finally on that, Mr. Speaker, and as I said, we must work on procurement. That to me is the elephant in the room. On Honorable Gikaria, I know Kenyans have not had kind words for political appointees, but I also want to tell Kenyans out there that being in a political office is just a calling. Actually, it is them who elect us to those offices. It doesn't take away our training, background, and professional experience. I have said I've worked for 28 years. I am a professional, just like any other professional, whether in politics or in private practice or in otherwise. Remember, Mr. Speaker, I didn't say this. This Public Finance Management Act, my signature is here. I was in the task force which did this Public Finance Management Act. We were with the former CS Rotich. We were with Kamau Thuge, who is now the Governor of Central Bank. We were with Professor Malombe, or I don't know whether it's Dr. Professor Malombe, who is now the Governor Kitui, and myself, paid by World Bank to prepare this Public Finance Management Act, which is used by everybody. I'm a professional, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in 2011, you remember, and we were with you in the National Assembly, consulting with Mass Group. I was their consultant. We came up with the 10 million error in the budget. I'm the one who brought it to the House, which became known as computer error. As a professional, I made sure that Kenya, and by the way, Treasury agreed that that was an error. Remember, there were professionals at the Treasury, yes. But the professional who is a politician is the one who discovered that there was computer error. So I want to just give confidence to the public that even when you are a politician, you can be a professional. Finally, on chairing PAC and financial statements that are in arrears, the confidence is this, Honorable Gikaria, that beginning with the Honorable Wandai, who is my predecessor, to my committee, we have really tried to be up to date. In fact, I am leaving that chair when we have just concluded examining accounts for 2021-2022. We were planning to have the report in the House in July. Unfortunately, because of the events that we are all aware of, that report, I'm sure, will be tabled in August. Then we'll only be remaining with 2022-2023. Because 2023-2024 has not been audited. It will come next year, like February. The committee that I'm leaving in place, I am sure before the end of this fiscal year, will be done with 2022-2023 and table their report. So we'll be up to date. There should be no worry at all. The National Assembly has done a lot of justice to our audited accounts. But, Mr. Speaker, you'll allow me to mention that we need to give more resources to our Auditor General to do special audits, do forensic audit, because this financial audit that we are paying too much attention to is not going to help us really improve financial management. In my office, if you approve me, I will persuade the cabinet to give more resources. We can afford to give more resources to Auditor General to save much more, because we are losing so much. Special audits, and I've left quite a number, which I asked the Auditor General to do. If you look at those special audits on the study, 3 of them I'll mention. One is on Article 223, Mr. Speaker. It is there in Parliament, and the committee will deal with it. There's another one on fertilizer. All these issues that we are talking about are in that report. Number 3 is on Stadia.